Namo Phat, good morning. Thank you for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. Dharma lesson this morning is Awakening Factor of Investigation of Phenomena from Ajahn Thiradhammo's book, Working with the Five Hindrances. The awakening factor of investigation of phenomena follows on from mindfulness. What precisely are these phenomena? In essence, we are trying to get out of the paralyzing and smothering effect of lethargy and drowsiness by changing our perspective from being enveloped in them to being the knowing of them. Once we can clearly distinguish lethargy and drowsiness in their various forms and intensities, we can make a thorough investigation of them. How and when do they arise? This process can bring some energy into the mind through A, arousing energy to investigate, B, changing our consciousness to be the investigator, C, creating some excitement from insight into the causes. One of the practical ways to develop investigation is through generating exploratory interest in spiritual practice. It's very beneficial to approach meditation practice with an attitude of exploring body and mind, rather than having some preconceived plan of what spiritual practice should be like. I'll get rid of the 5 hindrances, develop the 7 factors of awakening, and I'll realize stream entry. Spiritual practice never lives up to our self-imposed expectations. And holding those expectations usually results in disappointment, discouragement, and loss of energy. However, if we can turn our disappointment into taking interest in what processes we are going through, we can generate another source of energy. We can break through the old, stifling, numbing habits with an investigative inquiry. Hey, what's going on here? Meditative investigation is a tool for exploring body and mind in order to discover the truth of the way things are. We can do this even with a common meditation object, like the breathing. What if you take an extra interest in it, and rather than relate to it as some perfunctory exercise we do, start to investigate it more carefully? What is this breathing process? There's a profound dynamic experience going on there, not just a repetitive concept of breathing. The breath comes into the body, it inflates. A moment of pause, the breath goes out. As we reach more clarity about what this process is, it can even be very exciting. Imagine breathing being exciting, maybe for the first few breaths, and then memory freezes it. But if you can actually stay with the immediacy of breathing, every breath is totally new. You never breathe the same breath twice, or you might asphyxiate. You notice that the way the breath changes depends on the state of your mind, on the state of your body. You can become more and more interested in how the body affects the mind, how the mind affects the breathing, and it becomes a really absorbing process if there is some interest in it. and this can generate energy. We're actually turning watching the breath into something we are studying or investigating rather than something we are just religiously doing. We can thus apply this attitude to exploring the nature of lethargy and drowsiness, their cause, and their cessation. Of course, the trick is to begin this investigative process before one gets totally engulfed in them. This is hopefully what mindfulness can reveal and allow us the space to explore. There's a certain exhilaration in exploring something to really find the truth about it. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me this morning.